Welcome to the Geekz 31 Days of Horror for Halloween. This is Alil.
This is Steve.
And with us tonight from the ESociety, Nez, man. What's up, Nez? Welcome back.
What's up, brothers, man? How you guys doing?
Brother Nez, it's been too long. I feel like we need to start doing more holiday-themed things that we can start roping people into, so we're not just talking to everybody in October.
Well, we do 12 random days of Christmas, so they're not in a row. We just make sure we have 12 Christmas episodes throughout December, because this 31 days kills me every year. So that's why I said 12 random days. It was easier that way. So hopefully,
I think we're going 40 something strong. This October, we're going past.
We're well past 31. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what happened. We just started recording 3-4 a week, and poof.
Yeah, and we had fun with it. So, but tonight cool. You chose a special sequel because last year we did Witchboard with you. This year we're doing Witchboard 2 from 1993, I believe it is the 90s. Definitely an early 90s movie.
Yeah.
Make sure on that date. So, 1993. So, for those of you who have not been with us before, we'll play for you our rating system.
This has a rating system in place that we like to call 0 to 0. If whatever horror movie we're reviewing is terrifying only to the most infantile who get nightmares from PG-13 reboots, it gets a 0. If it's a gorgasm-inducing slaughter party that satiates your most devious and monstrous desires, it gets a hero.
A beautiful young woman starts receiving messages through a Ouija board claiming to be from the former occupant of her apartment. Witchboard 2 stars Amy Dolanez. Am I saying that right? Dolanez. She hasn't really been in a lot.
Sounds right.
Christopher Michael Moore, Lorraine Newman, Timothy Gibbs, and just some others. Not really anybody you know. Maybe you'll see them in some other schlocky horror films like Leprechaun 3.
Hey, listen, that guy, listen, maybe he didn't act in a bunch of good shit. He's not a great actor, but he wrote Flight.
Oh, did he?
Denzel movie. Then he turned around and wrote the Power Rangers movie in 2017. I like this guy. Okay.
Oh, well, damn. That's why you brought him up. You're like, 2017 Rangers. Love it. So, Nez, you picked Witchboard 2. I know you have a fondness for Witchboard. But do you have a fondness for Witchboard 2?
Not as much as the original one. This one, I didn't see it when it initially came out. I think one of my buddies rented it, and I was at his house, and he was like, "Hey, man, I rented Witchboard 2. Let's watch it." I didn't even know at that time there was a Witchboard 2. So I was like, "Yeah, sure. Maybe it'll continue from the first one." So we gave it a watch. The first viewing, I was kind of, oh, this movie's terrible. Why are they doing this? It's still written and directed by the same guy that did the first one, so I figured it couldn't have been that bad. I know you guys didn't care for the first one, and I'm pretty sure you guys hate this one too, because this one's all right. I mean, I have it on Blu-ray, of course
you did.
Somewhat of a completist. I warn everyone, if you guys love these films, cool, but the third one, I won't put you guys through that because I could barely get through that one. That one was.
Wait, there is a third one.
There's a third one.
I think we have to do it. I mean, it's like.
All right, we'll wait for next year then.
Yeah, we got to get through all these series. We did all the Insidious movies this year. Oof.
I think we did. I can't remember. I know Brian and I we record so much.
I wanted to ask you too, because you're the only other person I've heard that said they liked The Last Key.
Didn't. I did.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, me and a little liked The Last Key. We thought that one was pretty good. I was like, this is all right.
That's my second favorite one of the series, right? That's before this garbage Red Door that came out.
Oh, yeah. That one was terrible.
Oh, my God.
I just saw it the one time. It was all right. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I mean, did they need to end the story? Of course. But since Conjuring's been spent off into this crazy universe, I think they're trying to keep that one going. I hear there's going to be more but that's supposed to be the end of that family. Yeah, that's supposed to be the end of that.
I don't need to see Patrick Wilson show up.
No, I just want Tucker and Specs. Give me their spinoff where they go investigate cool shit and they team up with the ghost Lin Shaye. That's the movie I want.
That's what I want to see too. I want them to have their own movie, or if whoever puts all that out, give them their own little show. I'll watch that.
I think that's what we said the entire series. It's an odd series because usually the first one is the best. Like you're talking about Witchboard here, which is a series. The first one's probably the best. But usually in these long series, it's the first one. Then they try to build off. For me, like the third and fourth ones were the best. Like those were the two like my favorite ones. So, but we're talking about a totally different series. Let's talk about Witchboard. Another thing with Witchboard, though, there's a reimagining coming out next year. There's a new one coming out next year.
But I mean, Ouija. It's just a Ouija board movie, really.
But it's called Witchboard. So, and it's a reimagining of the '86 classic. So, just putting it out there. We might have to do 2 next year, Nez. We might have to do
all right. Well, I mean, I'll see it if it's. I mean, we just did a show talking about. We found the list of Rotten Tomatoes 25 best horror remakes, and I kind of tore some of them apart. But if they're gonna remake them, I'll watch them. I see pretty much every remake that I can find that I know of. I know there was some on that list that I didn't even know were remakes. Like that movie Cat People. I didn't know it was a remake from old film. Yeah, so I was like, all right, so I'll check it out. But yeah, I mean, again, I have a huge fondness for Witchboard. A buddy of mine that I grew up with, we both watched it for the first time, and we both loved it. I actually met and interviewed the director in Sacramento at Sinister Creature Con, and he was kind of like, right on, man. You're like one of the guys that really praises this movie. And I said, I love this film. I said, I can't say that much for Witchboard 2, but he was like, no, man, it's an acquired taste. He also did another film called Witch Trap, which I thought, oh, there he is.
I didn't need to be here. I was waiting.
It's all right. You just hang out. Right. We're all just hanging out.
Just grab your popcorn, Sean, and enjoy.
We might. It's same thing, written and directed by Kevin Tannany, I believe his name is. I thought it was a part of the Witchboard series. Because if you're looking at the cover, it looks like Mal Fader, the evil guy from the first film. So that was the reason that I rented it, and then turned out it was just a totally different movie. Because when I asked the director, I said I thought this was Witchboard, part of the Witchboard series. He's like, nah. He goes, he was friends with that guy that played Mal Fader, so he asked him, hey, I need a bad guy. Do you want to come do it again? He's like, yeah, sure. And they just made him look exactly how he looked in the first Witchboard. So,
oh shit, I seen this movie before.
Wait, Witchboard Part 2?
I think I seen Witchboard 1.
Yeah, we're talking about Witchboard Part 2.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Yeah, we don't want your opinion on 1 when we already talked about that a year ago, Sean.
My bad.
First you're early, but now you're really late. I don't know. Like,
so I think next year we should do 3 if you could find it. I know it was on YouTube. I don't know if it's there anymore.
Oh, we'll find it.
And Witch Trap as well. You guys, if you want to, a spinoff or whatever. I don't know what it is, but I've seen it once and I don't remember much of it.
So what do you rate Witchboard 2 on our handy dandy?
Again, I mean, I wouldn't have bought it if I didn't have some kind of liking for it. So I would give it I'd give it a low sidekick. I can't give it a regular or a high. No, this is on the low end.
Well, Nez, I agree with you there. I think it's a low sidekick. I don't think that it's a complete 0 because it's specifically for one very specific kill. I think really just was like really, really good. So we'll get into that. But boy, this movie, the amount of dialogue that was spent spelling out words and then questioning that word out loud over and over and over again. And this fucking lady, Susan. Like, oh my God. It was like grating on my skull. And then like Hollywood's idea of like what an artist is always fun too. Because it seems like for a town that full of people that make movies that are artists, they have no idea what like real artists do. So that's always fun. And then I'm not sure who the bad guy was. Like at the end, I'm confused. Like, we'll figure it out. But like the dude from Leprechaun 3 was shady. Like something was up with him. But then like at the end, like maybe he wasn't. Like, I don't know. And then the moral of the story is like, just get back with your abusive, totally controlling ex-boyfriend. Credits.
Sean, you're wiping your microphone again. Sorry.
So like a little bit mixed messaging there. But some awesome, classic 80s, early 90s, late 80s special effects sounds. Like I like when the Witchboard falls, it's like, And there was one really cool camera shot where the camera like went in and out of a car.
Yeah.
That was actually pretty
cool.
That was actually pretty cool. And that whole little scene that followed that was some nice stunt driving on a closed road. So.
Did you notice the camera off on the left side of the car when it jumped?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
You could clearly see it.
Just leave it in.
There's a fantastic scene in which I think it's Steve's death that he's going to talk about, where I can't wait to talk about that one.
Yes. And then I love the kids.
You see the dummy?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Was let me ask you a question, because again, I'm just jumping in since I'm late and wrong. But was Witchboard about a Ouija board?
Yes.
Okay, I did see these movies, man. These were all, okay, I got crazy stories on this one. Mind you, my mom used to work in a video store. So we used to get all the videos. Like we used to have all the scary movie videos and everything. So my mom was into Ouija boards. So we used to have a Ouija board in the house. And we used to do all that shit after watching these movies. We was messing around with the Ouija board and kept playing around with that shit. Like one day it got too freaky, and like I think we stopped. But we used to watch these movies consistently, like in '90s and the '80s. It was crazy. Like though, but yeah, I remember these movies, but I don't remember like scene by scene and shit. But I definitely remember them. For me, there was a hero because again, in the '80s and '90s,
you need to rewatch.
No. I probably rewatched it. It was terrible, but 11, 12-year-old me, or I don't know how old I was.
This fucking landlord who's like, anything you need, just call.
I know he was like
anything. Like, God damn, calm down. Right in front of his wife.
Yeah, so bizarre.
My wife still thinks it's 1964. You're like, what the fuck does that even mean? And then you meet her, and you're like, we're gonna have to deal with this all movie. Like this low droning, like, and her inflection kept changing. Like one point she's like a valley girl, the next point she's like they're like, pretend you're high. It's like she was just somebody pretending to be high that's never been high.
She was supposed to be like the character from the first one, Zarabeth, a little crazy medium or whatever. So I didn't
feel like she did much though. Like in that to help things move along, I guess.
Nah, she was just the nosy neighbor. That was Lorraine Newman from Saturday Night Live from the 70s.
Either way, she has the death that saved the movie for me. So for that, it gets a little sidekick. A little?
Yeah, it's a little sidekick. I mean, nothing happens. I mean, it's so long and drawn out. This is like a 30-minute short. And if it wasn't for the wrecking ball, that's all I'm going to say.
There's the Miley Cyrus
and, and my funny story about this movie is I was watching it right before we were recording downstairs on the TV. And I'm like, this movie, outside of some swear words, there's nothing about it, nothing inappropriate really about it. It's not going to scare the kids. So I had it on, and they weren't watching it. They were doing their own thing. And then like at the last minute, they came into the room when he was flipping through his photo book, looking at Susan, the photos he took of Susan. They're all just like model photos. And then of course it gets to topless photos. And that is exactly when my 12-year-old son looks at the screen, and I just started laughing. I'm like, Alex, what are you looking at? I'm like, what are you looking at? And then Jenny just starts laughing, and she's like, what are you looking at? that's why you came down here, Alex? You know, we're just messing with him, but like, I'm like, of course, my 12-year-old just boom catches
It's
the boob shot.
It's the only boob in the whole movie, and
the whole movie he gets.
you had a
it,
bath
right?
scene, and when she's in the bath, it's like my wife was like, "Yep, that's how all women take baths."
Oh, yeah, I know.
Slowly drip water on our legs.
That's the thing.
Bubbles
Like,
up to our chin. What the fuck?
This movie, like, that's the
You know,
thing.
goddamn well, the bubbles will last but only about 5 minutes. by the time it's all they're going.
And then when I get out of the bath, I like to like very like casually like pull the towel up just as I'm getting out, you know, like.
But that's the thing with this movie too.
Yeah,
Like, it kept just focusing on like her body. You know, like they had that scene in the bathtub. It was just like going across the lake. There's one scene randomly that she's like just in panties in bed, and I'm like, in one scene she's in full pajamas, like, you know, like the full long sleeve pajama pants and everything. And then the next scene, like for some odd reason, she's just in panties, and then the camera just pans from foot all, and it's slow. It's like a 5-minute take, all the way up, no dialogue, and then the phone rings. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like,
spoilers. Spoilers.
what is this movie trying to do? You
I
trying to
like-
get on that HBO or that USA Up All Night stuff? Like, that's what it felt like, right? Like it was from that.
I like the dream sequence that she had,
yes,
where the hand comes out of the witchboard all covered in the
words.
in the
Yeah.
words. That was cool.
Or
That was
letters,
a cool
yeah.
effect. Very cool shot. But then like right after that, she like shocks awake. She's like, and she starts rapidly drawing, and I'm like, sweet, we're gonna see a picture of that hand coming out of the book or something. No, it's eyes and some jewel that was not in the fucking dream. Like, what the fuck? Where did this come from? What are you drawing?
I know,
and then that goes into the next scene where like people come to like check on her because they're like, oh my god, we're so worried about where have you been? And her house is covered in pencil drawings, pencil sketches.
Well,
but she's covered in paint, and I don't know why she's covered in paint when all she's been doing is drawing with the pencils.
Well, even that, Steve. What do artists who paint are lathered in paint all over their faces? And everything?
And it's like nighttime. She's in those same pajamas alone. It's like nighttime now, so she's been in that. And she like looks at herself and like touching her, like, oh my god, what have I done? And I was like, I said out loud, I was like, yep, that's when art happens. Like, what the fuck? So stupid.
I mean,
She
there
lost
was
herself in the art.
at least in the first one that kind of had some kind of backstory to who Malfader was, who that house that they lived in, the Witchboard itself. They had some kind of story. This one is like they just got some random people that you didn't know, threw in a Ouija board and just action and make it up as you go along, because they really didn't even like the main girl, the one Paige. She was summoning Susan. At first, we're not really sure, because in the first one, she thought she was talking to someone else, but it turned out to be Malfader. In this one, it was actually Susan the whole time. And yeah, I was wondering, like, who's bad? Is it the little young landlord? Is it her ex-boyfriend that she left? And then it turned out to be a Susan deal. And then I was like, what's happening? It was,
but she really wasn't the bad guy. So the bad guy was the guy
the landlord
first killed. The landlord and her husband.
Yeah, with the one with the Benny Hill saw blade.
Oh my god, the saw blade that was just like spinning there on a fishing line. We're
That
already
was
spoilers.
chasing him around the fucking the racks. He's like, he kept looking over his shoulder, like, is it still there? Ooh. Like,
I was watching on the Blu-ray.
And then he closes himself in the room, and he just like, there's like a 3-minute shot of just some dude off screen, off camera, just throwing tools at a door. Wham.
on the Blu-ray, there's a featurette, and they go, yeah, they're called, oh, and the awesome special effects, and you actually see the saw blade, and it's on a stick that we can't see, but the way they were filming it, you could see it. And they had the screwdrivers that they were flying across the room on strings, and it was just crazy. And of course, the wrecking ball with the dummy and all that.
Oh, we'll get to that because I want to break this dummy wrecking ball scene down because it's ridiculous. But yeah, so that's the first kill. And the crazy thing is this guy is like a sloth, right? Like, this guy is not, and you're right, Steve, you said it. He was like hitting on Paige the whole time, like in front of his wife when she signed the papers. This dude is not a good looking dude, and yet he was messing around with Susan. I'm like, how did that happen? Like,
yeah, because Susan, when she comes back, is pretty hot.
Yeah, I was like, what? So,
well, they said that
thinking that the brother, he was the young guy that like he did it. But no, he didn't do. He wasn't a part of this.
They said that she was paying her rent by sleeping with that guy. So
but he wasn't the one. Yeah, that's how she was paying her rent, because she was sleeping with the landlord's husband because the wife owned the building.
How did she die? How did Susan die?
The wife
she got stabbed.
Oh, the wife killed her because of the affair.
Yeah,
okay.
Because of the affair.
Because this lady comes flying in talking to Leprechaun 3 over here about like, you forged this paperwork. What and I'm like, okay, so he did something wrong. But like, he's just trying to cover her tracks, but then like, why is she asking him about it? Like, it's the weirdest, like, it gets me so confused.
Well, I think that's part of it, right? The writing wasn't great. And I don't think I feel like
the dialogue was super confused. At one point, like, Paige is like talking to the lady, to the landlord, and it's her and Leprechaun 3. They're the only two people that live in this building. And she's like, wow, you certainly know everybody here. Like, it's two of you. Yes, she's the fucking landlord. Like, she lives in the same building. Yes.
It's really bad. But I think that's the thing. I felt like this was a spec script that they didn't know what was happening. And then they started changing things mid-filming, right? To try to make sense of things, but then it got worse, right? Because they wanted to develop a red herring. Like, who was the killer?
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, you're right. Like, Leprechaun 3 was, like, always giving you the side eye. The weird looks gave you the creepy vibe. Was it the hippie? Was it the cop boyfriend? Because he was kind of, like, real creepy and angry and mean, and then they had that whole side story about her office, which went nowhere. It was just like 2 scenes in her office where the one girl stole her paperwork, and I'm like,
and then she kept up with the shut the fuck up. I was like, damn. And she kept up with that. She kept going with the shut the fuck ups.
They were trying to fill in gaps, and I think that's what it was. They had some kind of short story. It wasn't long enough. Filling in scenes, because that's why it feels disjointed.
Well, what they said in the first one is what they kind of did in this. They were saying that spirit was trying to get her trust. That's why it was telling her things about something that was going on at work that had nothing to do with the main storyline. So that's how they shoehorn that in there.
The guy at the store, the only person that made sense in this whole movie,
the Jewish occultist. Well, you never seen a Jewish occultist before, have you?
I like that guy. I was like, that guy, I can see. Give me a movie based around him. He's probably got a lot of crazy shit in his store. But yeah, so then he gives her the writing tool, and I'm like, that's cool. Where's this gonna go? Nowhere. She just writes her name in a big circle around it.
And
she could have just drilled a hole in her own.
S-T-O-P. Stop. Is Susan? Is it stop? Susan? Oh my God. More. And then I love how they go to they're like, we're gonna go find her dead body, and they go to the woods, which is like a well lit clearing with like some trees, and she's like, I'm gonna go get the body, and she steps out in like Daisy Dukes, cowboy boots, and a leather jacket with a shovel. At night, she said she's gonna go find this dead body buried in the woods. Leprechaun 3 goes with her. They're walking, talking. They hear one twig snap, and they're fucking out of there, right? which is what we all say. We're always like, I would just fucking be out of there. But like in this case, you're like, damn. What was the point of all this? So that the angry boyfriend cop guy can come back and be like, I'm taking you home. Shove it in the face of Leprechaun 3 for a second. Like, I don't even, he just has a pick and a shovel in his car at all times, that's suspicious.
Well, they're trying to throw you all this on who's the real bad
Look,
guy.
and I gotta be honest with you, because coming up towards the end, I was like, I don't know who the fuck did it. I don't even know if she's dead or not, really. So I'm totally lost. The ending is gonna surprise me, and then it did with one of the best deaths we've seen all 31 days.
I mean, I can't go there, Steve. We had some pretty good deaths, but it was a hilariously ridiculous death.
It was amazing.
Hilariously ridiculous. So, but here's the funny part with this death. This is why I wanted to break this down. So, they're outside talking in front of her hippie van.
Mm-hmm.
Her and Leprechaun 3.
And a dog.
And her dog, Toto. And like, he has his back to this machine, this wrecking ball, right? How he knows it's coming and jumps out of the way while she's staring right at it is the most ridiculous death ever, right? Like,
and it looked like he like had a hold of her and then like jumped out of the way, but kind of like
pushed her in front of it. Yeah.
Like, because bro, that wrecking ball hits that fucking van, and you see the van lift up and the dummy strapped to it, scraping across the ground.
I love that. I
paused. Good.
Because I'm like, wait, was that the dummy on the bottom of this thing? And you see it right there. I'm like, oh, that is amazing.
I love that shit every time. And then they did the close up, and she's all smashed in there, all covered in blood. Like, that was good. That was like not for nothing. You know, I got to give, especially movies that aren't really nailing it. When they nail something like that, like all the props in the world. That was really cool.
Yeah.
It's like they put most of their money into their special effects.
It's like they had that shot.
Driving scene.
That was the one
shot and the driving scene.
Yeah, wouldn't it be crazy if a ghost just pressed down on the gas pedal and you couldn't push the brakes? Oh my God. That would be crazy. Who's going to believe this? I love when he's like driving around. He's like, there's mad fucking ramps everywhere. And then like out of nowhere, some guy just goes like 70 miles an hour to the back of his driveway, back it out. I was like, Jesus Christ. That guy was trying to get in an accident anyway.
All the kids crossing the street just stopped.
Oh, I know. They all just stopped.
I mean, of course there was, it was far away from the kids, but to actually have a bunch of kids out there, I mean, anything could have went wrong. So one of the kids could have slipped and fell as that car was coming in top speed, but not everyone got out of the way quick.
Yep.
That was like the busiest street that this could happen on. You had everything. I was waiting for a truck with watermelons to drive across or something.
I didn't expect it to end with him driving through a boat. So on the street, you know. Man,
how did he launch? That's what I don't understand.
No, that's what I'm saying. Mad fucking ramps. They're just hidden. They're popped up. It's like a fucking Hot Wheels track.
I was gonna say it's an Excite Bike from the NES where you build your own ramps and you go through.
His truck rolls and rolls and rolls, and he's fucking. Cut to him in the hospital. He's got a little patch on his head, like a little
scrape on the arm.
Yeah. Like,
oh man. I was surprised he even survived that thing. I mean, yeah, even if you had your seatbelt on.
Well, he's a superhero, clearly, because then he just goes around and gets tossed around like a ragdoll for 20 minutes by a ghost woman.
He gets thrown out the window by the ghost woman. Electrical cord wraps around his leg. You don't think his leg is dislocated at this moment after he like
seriously, he's gone, and then dead stop. So.
And then some I don't know how he swung himself after being that way, and like somehow the rope broke. I mean, this is like a 2-inch cable. I don't know how it just broke.
Well, it was on the glass.
And well, I know, but like it just
as someone that works with this kind of cable, he's still dangling there.
That's what I'm saying, Steve. Like it broke because it didn't get cut because that glass wouldn't have cut this thing like it showed. And then he flips up. That's what I didn't get. Like it was like this, you know, the momentum you'd have to do to pendulum yourself to swing and land on the whatever the fire escape. That
but then he's like hopping around for the next 10 minutes with that fucking cable still strapped to his leg. I'm like, just take it off.
Yeah,
So
that would have
crazy.
clearly pulled his leg out of socket or something.
Oh, yeah, would have
or
torn it
broke
right
it.
off. Yeah, torn it off. I mean, you would have seen it just off.
And
Like,
the
it would have been
power
a
of-
leg there.
Then Leprechaun 3 gets pickaxe through the belly. That was all right. I mean, you
Yeah,
didn't
I
really
wasn't
see it,
expecting that.
you know.
Yeah.
But I still don't know if he did anything wrong besides try to cover up. Well, I guess he did try to cover up Susan's murder.
He tried to cover up where he gained from the murder, and then he did, because she even said, like, I'll let you go. I have no problem with you. You know, just let me be. And he couldn't because, I don't know, he had a thing for Paige, but did he
why
have
would
a thing for
anybody?
Paige?
Like, Paige is annoying. She's annoying. I would have taken one look at Susan and been like, Paige, who? You're super strong. You're like the She-Hulk. You got superpowers.
She was choke slamming dudes.
Let's go.
Yeah, I was gonna say she's a big show. She's just a pop, you know.
I'm saying. And so how they vanquish her is the power of love.
Yeah.
for the abusive ex-boyfriend who's like, I know you're in there. Fight for me, Paige. Like, one, you're like 42. This girl's clearly said she's like 21. Like, what are you even doing? You're stalking this woman. At one point, they're like, we're gonna call the police, and you're like, I am the police. Like, god damn, that's a little much, you know, like a little abusive power there, buddy. But suddenly he's the hero. The whole time I thought he was gonna be like just fodder. Like, oh, okay, the ghost is gonna take him out at some point. Right?
Oh yeah. Sure.
No, he's the hero of the story.
I know, which is crazy. Crazy. He comes in yelling at her, screaming about her leaving, whips out his badge and abuses his police power, basically, saying, oh, you want to call the cops? I am the cops, bitch. And it's like, what? And then, yeah, at the end, they're still together. She's going to art school. And
I'm going to art school and nothing can stand in my way.
And he's going to call her when she gets settled in.
And all they do is shoot the witchboard.
Yes.
Well, did it get shot or did she hit it with the pickaxe?
With the pickaxe.
She hit it with the pickaxe, and then you see the spirit of the witchboard go into the night or whatever, and then
amazing special effects.
Yeah, next thing, everything is all good. But did you notice that the one of the garbage men, that was a guy from the first film?
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Because I was wondering, there had to be something there because it was
the
just
one that didn't like the witchboard, or the one that wanted to play with the other.
That didn't like it. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't say anything, but he did mention his girlfriend, which was Linda from the first one. He was like, "Yeah, Linda and I are about to have a baby," and when that guy was like, "Oh, cool, witchboard," and then he just kind of like went, "Well, I don't like those, man. You should stay away from them." And then,
okay.
Do these even work? And then yes, and then there's your movie.
Yeah, then it wrote yes.
So, I mean,
but again, it had like that cool, like, I gotta give it props again when it's due. Like, the music actually wasn't that bad. It's nice synthy 80s 90s style, like horror, like the little bells, you know, kind of reminds me of Poltergeist stuff. Like, they had some cool stuff here, a couple of cool scenes. It's not a complete and utter failure like 13 Fanboy was. This one is it's not good, but it's not the worst thing.
I agree. It is watchable. That's the best compliment I can give it.
I mean, the best thing for me that I liked about it, I mean, I hated the main girl. She just got on my nerves through the whole movie. Yeah, cute and everything, but I'm not a blonde guy. But anyway, the way they filmed it, I liked how they did that. They tried to do what they could with the special effects. I mean, the circular saw blade to me was just amazing. I love it every time I see it. Just mounted to the camera, and did you notice it was like barely spinning?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They didn't even give it a full spin. And the action of the car jumping and crashing, and you can clearly, I'm watching it now, you can clearly see the ramp as he jumps and turns over. Like in the A-Team, every car goes like that when it jumps. But for everything that they did, it was goofy. Yeah, I mean, I get some enjoyment out of it. I don't think I can watch it all the time, but if I feel like, hey, I feel like watching Witchboard, I can grab it and throw it in. But yeah, I mean, it's a low sidekick. It's nothing to write home about. But if you've seen the first one and you have any interest to watch this one, we kind of ran through the whole thing. But to check it out, if anything, check it out for the wrecking ball and the crazy effects that they thought were awesome in 93.
Yeah, the wrecking ball deserves a watch, but just by itself.
The whole movie's on YouTube, everyone. So if we're selling it to you, you can check it out there.
And it's on Paramount Plus.
Oh, it is? Okay. I just broke out
I just found it on. I just found it.
No, it's on Paramount Plus. So, well, Nez, thank you for choosing this movie for us to dive into for this year. Why don't you let everybody know where they can find you?
Yeah, you can search ESociety on Facebook. We're there. Follow us on Instagram at ESociety Pod. Follow us on TikTok. Same thing at ESociety Pod. We have a YouTube channel. There's like a few videos on there, not a lot. We need to do a little bit more. We want to do what you guys do with the live stuff and it automatically going right on YouTube. You guys need to teach me how to do that. So, but yeah, that's pretty much everywhere. Just search ESociety or my solo show, the MacNez podcast. Same thing. Just punch that in there. Our main, we're all over on all the podcast platforms. So if you search for MacNez or ESociety, it'll show up. We also have another feed for ESociety on the Spotify for podcasters. We have another feed over there, which is a bunch of random things that we come up with, different movie lists that we find, like the best comic movies, the best horror movies, the best action or comedies or what have you. Lately, the host of the show, I'm the co-host of the ESociety. My brother Theo, he is huge into Big Brother, and I hate it, but he drags me in. So he does a lot, or we both do a lot of Big Brother updates, and I watch it just because of him. I mean, I could care less about these idiots in the house, but it's show content. He loves it. But there's people that listen to it. So I'm like, cool, shout out to everyone that does. But yeah, we're all sorry about the screaming kids if you guys can hear them. My grandson's here.
We all got kids, man.
So yeah, we're all over the place. Just search ESociety or MacNez and enjoy everything that we got. We are rolling up on our 300th episode, which we're not going to do until November because we're caught up in our 31 days of horror. And yeah, that's it. And yeah, man, I mean, this is fun. I couldn't wait to do this. I know we had a blast last year with Witchboard, and come back next year, everyone, when we do Witchboard 3.
Is there a Witchboard 3?
Yes. And something called Witch Trap.
And they're remaking Witchboard. The first
Are
one.
they?
Coming out next year.
It's a whole thing.
Movie was running through all these Witchboards. So, all right. Well, Nez, thank you again. And this is Alil.
This is Steve.
You know what? I'm here. I didn't realize it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
And this is Nez.
And until tomorrow night, everybody, keep it creepy.